The kings of Zelthar ruled from towers carved from glass and iron, fragile and sharp like their politics. Paranoia was their blood. Every agreement signed with ink and the threat of daggers. Betrayal wasn't just feared, it was expected. Assassins slept closer than wives. Spies outnumbered servants. Trust, to them, was a fiction, a pretty tale told to children too weak to understand power. So when humanity arrived, brash, curious, loud, they met us with the masks they wore even in dreams. "What do you want?" the High King had asked, voice cold as polished steel. "Nothing," we said, and they did not believe us. Nothing? No claim? No ultimatum? No territorial demand wrapped in veiled threat. They waited for the trick, the trap, the hidden poison under our honeyed words. But it didn't come. We came with translators, not warships. With scientists and historians, not conquerors. We didn't flash weapons, we brought bread. We didn't offer terms, we told stories. It confused them. Deeply. In Zeltharian culture, peace was never free. Trust always had a price. They couldn't comprehend an offer without hidden blades. So they searched for them. They dissected our ambassadors' speech patterns. Watched our soldiers for coded movement. Interrogated every historical record we offered, expecting to find the darkness behind the light. But the truth unnerved them more than any lie could have. We simply wanted to know them. Not rule. Not remake. Just understand. They accused us of manipulation. Of moral warfare. Of weaponized compassion. One of our envoys, Captain Arun Dale, responded without anger. "If you think kindness is a trick," he said, "that's not our crime, it's your wound." The room had gone still. For the first time, a Zeltharian king didn't issue a counter-threat. He just looked down. That was the first crack. It didn't shatter overnight. Their culture was woven from millennia of betrayal. Peace, to them, was just the pause between backstabbings. But we were patient. We invited their delegates to Earth, not the capitals, but the corners. A quiet farm in Kenya. A coastal village in Chile. A classroom in Nunavut, where children of 5 languages laughed together over shared paint. We showed them trust in action, parents who left doors unlocked. Market stalls where no one watched the coins. Lifelong friendships unbroken by blood or politics. "Impossible," one prince muttered after a month among us. "This must be engineered. Fabricated." So we invited him to choose his own destination. He chose the most violent history he could find, post-conflict cities, places rebuilt from war and grief. Surely there, the masks would fall. He watched strangers help each other in the rain. Veterans hug across old enemy lines. Children born of enemies sharing playgrounds. He returned changed, but he said nothing. Until his coronation. Instead of a sword, he lifted a necklace of woven thread, gifted by an earth child who had not known his title, only his name. "I was taught that power lies in fear," he said to the assembly of nobles. "But now I believe it lies in something rarer, earned trust." The room erupted, some in outrage, some in silence. Change had begun. But it wasn't safe. The old guard struck back, poisoned treaties, blackmailed peace envoys, orchestrated collapses of shared infrastructure. They expected us to retaliate with force. Instead, we rebuilt. Quietly. Again and again. "You must fight back," one counselor screamed. "They will never stop otherwise." "We're not here to win," Ambassador Lien replied. "We're here to prove that peace can outlast sabotage." She walked alone into the chambers of the dissenters. No guards. No armor. Just her heartbeat and her belief. She handed them an unsealed letter, written in her own hand. It contained the names of every Zeltharian her team had saved from engineered plagues, from assassins' blades, from political ruin. She knew they would use it to accuse her of manipulation, treason even. But instead, one of the warlords read the names, and paused when he reached his daughters. "You knew," he whispered. Lien nodded. "You never demanded tribute?" "No." "Why?" "Because I believe your people deserve a future where daughters don't need rescuing from your enemies." He wept. It was the first tear the court had seen in 100 years. The tide turned slowly. Not in fire, but in whispered apologies. In private gestures. In public ceremonies where the old armor was laid down in rivers as a vow. A year later, they asked Earth for something they had never asked anyone. A shared treaty of guardianship. Not an alliance. Not a merger. But a pact of unbroken trust. It had no enforcement clause. No penalties. No escape hatch. It was handwritten in both languages and signed not in blood, but in sunlight, on a hilltop where both our flags flew in silence. Today, Zeltharian kings no longer fear betrayal, because they've learned to see loyalty in a different shape. Not in oaths spoken through gritted teeth, but in the quiet act of handing someone a knife and knowing they won't use it. Because we won't. Not ever.